Ta-da! We are live! Yay! Jay, you're here! Yay! I need to... Ooh. Not bump everything. That would be the smart thing. There we go. Huzzah! Super jamming to the music or because of Art Fight? So now everybody's all excited that Art Fight started. I really wanted to be in it this year too, and then I completely forgot it existed and booked out July like crazy. Does not help that I'm a little behind on my schedule, but that tends to be the case. We're making progress, though. Luckily. We've got... Let's see here. 18... Ooh, so it's both. Close enough. I say, I wanted to do Art Fight. I completely forgot about it. And I also haven't actually updated my profile in like 2 or 3 years. Because I keep missing it. I did it maybe twice and then dropped off the face of the earth on accident. Which sucks. Because I want to do Art Fight and I want to do more. So... I might start making like a Thursday stream specifically for... like more digital artsy stuff, because like I have stuff I want to do on the embroidery machine that's separate from commissions, just like for cons and stuff, and like I have to draw up those ideas first and stuff like that, so I might just start doing like a Thursday drawing stream or something, and then Mondays and Wednesdays would be a working stream. Just that I get a couple hours every week where I get to actually, you know, draw. Because I miss it. I really do. I miss doing other things than sewing. As much as I like making fursuits, I miss doing other things. Technically, no. I don't have to be in the office for that. But it's a pain in the butt if I'm not. Because, like, I still have to have the microphone set up. And I still have to, like, my drawing tablet's fucking huge, you know that, and it's gotta be plugged into my computer, so my computer has to have somewhere to sit nearby, and also be plugged into the microphone, and be plugged into the drawing tablet. So it's easiest to do in the office, but technically I could do it anywhere. Yeah. Like, I could do it in the kitchen if I wanted. The office is high, exactly. So it might also be a good replacement for the days that I can't stream in the office because it's hot. Like today is pretty toasty already. It's pretty warm in here. So it might be a good replacement for those days too. But I say if worse comes to worse, we just do silent art streams where it's just the music and I don't talk, but I like chatting, you know. I feel that's kind of boring otherwise. But I have so many ideas, Jay. You don't even know. So many ideas. You don't even know these ideas, though. You know I have lots of them, but I haven't even told you about these ones. Okay. No, wait. Maybe I did tell you about these ones. I definitely blabbed at you last night, and I think that was when you were napping. So I don't know what I told you, and I don't remember. I might have actually... You're right, I do tell you. Well, because first off, the phonetic pre-made. That's one. I know I told you about that one. But I gotta draw a reference sheet for that, and figure out what furs I have. Yes, I know. But also, I want to do a pelt blanket. Right, because I haven't made one. Like, I haven't made one. And I want to make one. And Forrest really likes fur, so I can make a mini one for him. But, I would like to make a large-scale one, you know, a full-scale blanket, to sell as a pre-made. So I'd have to design that first. I'd have to make up the base reference sheet. And then... Rain hole. Oh, those little badges I was talking about, doing like embroidered badges. I was thinking of doing like a little Crimes embroidered badge that's just black and white line art. Just something simple. And then I was also thinking of doing more complex ones. I could do like Crimes patches too, like little applique things. Those might be a little bit more difficult though. And then, like, I want to do patches and I want to do badges. And I just want them to be like little guys, you know, like a little canine badge or a little feline badge or a spoopy badge, you know, like. I definitely want to do little Crimes ones, because I think those would sell pretty good. I think people like the Crimes. I think people like the custom ones better, but I think having a little embroidered one would be fun for the patches and the badges. I think I'd like to do like a color set of embroidered ones where it's like a single So for the words, I'm either thinking of doing all black line art, so it would just be a white background with black line art and black text, or I could do kind of like I did on the stickers, where it's a white background or transparent, like the stickers are transparent, but you know, a white background, and then do gray embroidery for the text and black for the line art. So you could still see it, but it would be more like a background rather than solid black. That way the character stands out a little bit more. I think also doing like little derp tags would be cute. A little derp badge. I think that would be a fun one to do, especially since I have the little derpy guy already. But I'd like to do like a colorway one. Like, we like the Crimes badge. We like the derp badge. I think that'd be good. I think it'd be more fun too than just your standard square badges for like the little. I mean, I could do them square. I could do them all just little squares. That would be easier to cut out for the foam. Now that I think about it, but that's besides the point. I think doing the derps would be a fun one. Doing the Crimes would be a fun one. Doing colorway ones, like I could. These ones I'd have to completely draw up entirely new, you know, because they're not designs I've done before. But I think like, you know, like the suit families that are just like the exact same design across, but they're all different colors, like that, but in badges. Like they would all be like, oh, blue furry, red furry, whatever, and it's all kind of the same design or similar designs with different shades of blue, red, and whatever, you know, for those. And then we could do rainbow, you know, a rainbow furry for all the super colorful children out there. And I think that would just be a simple series to do. And I think they'd look really cute, you know, on the embroidery. As much as I'd like to do species badges, where, you know, like we got, like I said, I might do simple ones like canines, felines, or, you know, like your more common species, hyenas maybe. I might do a couple of those. I don't think I'm going to do too many, though. Just like for like generic species badges, because like there's so many artists that make the little laminated ones, that are like, oh, you know, furry or gamer or Neopet fan or whatever, stuff like that. I would like to do fandom badges. I think furry fandom ones, like, I would love to do a Gravity Falls embroidery one. That would be fun. Like, even if it's a bit more niche. Like, if we did a Gravity Falls, and if we did, like, a Detroit Become Human, or... I would definitely do at least one D&D badge. And it might just be a little guy with a D20, you know? Just a little guy with his little D20 that's as big as he is. Which, I guess D&D's not niche, but you get my point. Like, I could do Amazing Digital Circus, or, yes, Owl House, yes. Minecraft YouTube would be a good one, too. Like, I think just a Minecraft one in general would be good. Yeah, that's what! Murder Drones. We gotta do a Murder Drones one. Oh, dude. Okay, here's an idea, right? For some of these badges, because I'm thinking, right? The Murder Drones, they've got their little glowies, right? They got their lights and shit. I would love to do applique with metallic fabric where the lights are. Or like a transparent kind of fabric, you know, like a sheer, see-through, shiny. So then it embroiders around that instead of just embroidering yellow. So then it would be shiny in the light-up spots. There might even... If I can find a glow-in-the-dark fabric. Or like I guarantee there's UV reactive fabrics that aren't fur. But, you know, like, you see what I'm saying? You get what I'm putting down? The problem is that these would not be cheap, right? Like, a lot of people that sell these are selling them for $5 to $15, depending on, you know, the design and the size of them. Since it's embroidered, it costs me a lot more in time and materials, you know? Like, designing, it's not going to take super long to do, I don't think. But embroidery, I can only do so many at once, right? Even if I try to bulk them. Because, like, let's say we're doing a small size batch. Let's say we're doing a 4x4, which is not very big. It's about the size of, like, you can't even see it. Oh no. We're too short, guys. We're tilted. It's alright, you can see Baby Man's. It's about the size of, like, the designs on these bandanas. Like, it's a little, like, these are slightly smaller than 4 inches. But at the end of the day, the badge itself would be about this big, you know, for a 4-inch badge. Just very cute. And I feel like that's a good size for them. But then you have to think, well, I only have so many hoops. So I have to be able to fit these 4-inch squares onto either individually on a 4x4 hoop, or fit them onto my 6x10 hoop. Since I can't, you know, do 2 4s and a 6, it would have to be... I mean, I could do like a 3x4 badge, and then maybe I could squeeze them in. So they're a bit more rectangular rather than square. Again, it depends on the design and how it ends up. But, I'd only be able to do 2 or 3 at a given time, you know? At best, like, if I can actually end up doing a 4x3 design, which I think is probably what I'd end up with, realistically, I could probably fit 4 of them on a 6x10 hoop. Which means I'd have to wait 3 hours to get 4 badges. And I'm not just sitting there, you know, it's not like a 3D printer where it just goes and goes and goes. I have to actually, you know, set it up. I have to set up the hoops. I have to put in the backing for the embroidery, because I do felt for what it actually embroiders onto, because that makes it more stiff and sturdy while still being flexible. It holds its shape and it keeps it from warping like crazy. So I do a really, really thick felt for that. But then I also have to manually change all the colors because mine is only a single needle embroidery machine. So every single time there's a color change, I have to actually go in there and change the color. And then I have to, if we're doing, like I'm saying, like with the murder drones ones, with the reflective fabric, I have to actually hold down reflective fabric, let it do a straight stitch on all the pieces, whatever, and then I have to actually take the hoop off the machine, cut the outline of those pieces the same way you do like toe beans, right? You sew them and then you trim them, right? Same idea. So then I have to go in and I have to do that for each piece on each badge, and if they're really small pieces, that can get kind of tedious. And then I imagine for that I would do a small satin stitch around them, and then it will do that and those will be attached. I think it would look really cool, but it would also be a lot more work. And I think embroidering that much takes about 3 to 4 hours to do. So that averages out to about an hour and a half of work per badge, plus about, because if it's, I'm trying to do the math because I don't have the actual math in my head, but I know it costs me about $1 per inch in materials. So a 4x3 inch badge is 12 square inches. So that's $12 right there, just in materials to make them, you know? And then if I do these, I still do the embroidered and glued on fleece backing, which again takes time and all that. So that right there is another 10 minutes per badge of just gluing it on, much less doing the embroidery of the logo and stuff on the back, which I don't necessarily have to do. I think it makes a much cleaner look. I could just take a hot glue gun and glue down, because the back sides of these badges, ugly as fuck. There's all these loose threads from where the machine cut and stuff like that, and there's a lot of crossovers and stuff. It's ugly. I could just take a hot glue gun and glue those down, which is the whole purpose of the fleece backing, is to glue those down. It helps it be more secure, but it also makes it look a lot nicer, you know? Like, I don't actually think I have an example, because I think Patch's old badge also has the fleece on the back. I could also offer NFCs in each of these. I could put it, like Patches has an NFC chip right underneath his nose. So I could just put those on there, just like the NFC bracelets. But I do have to actually go in and very carefully cut around this hole and glue it down to cover up all of the ugly that the machine does, you know, because this is the pretty side, but it would save time and cost to not do that, but I really like having the backing. And fleece is relatively cheap, honestly. Like, for a small 4x3 badge, it's not a lot of fleece, and it won't take me as long as one of these to actually get it nice and glued down and embroidered, because I do like having my logo on the back as well. But I think realistically, I'd have to sell them for at least $20 for it to be worth the work that goes into embroidering them. Not even the designing and all of that. So I don't know how realistic it would be to do. I guess it really just depends on the interest in it. You know, at the end of the day, like that's how it all goes. It's all driven by what people are actually interested in buying and how much they're willing to pay for it. A trend I've noticed just in general, not specifically to furries or to dealers' dens or anything like that, but I've vended at a lot of places outside the furry fandom. I used to do a lot of vending at craft shows and selling crochet stuff, and even just like seeing how people respond online to people selling things. We are very much driven to try and get things as cheaply as possible, right? And the unfortunate part of that is that going as cheaply as possible does cut quality. And that's just something I don't want to do. I don't want to cut quality to cut costs and make it cheaper for people. But we're so used to what, like, Walmart and stuff like that. Walmart and Amazon can ship us from China for as cheap as possible, you know, that people will look at, like, a crocheted hat that took me 3 hours to make, and they'll go, oh, well, I can buy that for $5 at Walmart because some kid in India, you know, is only paid 5 cents an hour for it, so it's super cheap, you know, or my grandmother could make that. That was something I heard a lot when I was selling crochet stuff, was, that's too expensive, I'll just get my grandma to make it, even though the materials itself costs more than how much Walmart sells their stuff for, you know? And that's the way it goes, you know? There's give and take, and there's the fact that a lot of people don't understand what goes into making a lot of things, so they assume that it should be cheaper the way it is at big box stores. And sometimes even when people do understand the price, they just don't think it's financially worth it for them, you know? Like, I might think something's really cool, but I'm not necessarily willing to spend $50 on it, even though I still think it's cool and definitely worth that money. I'm just not personally willing to spend that much, you know? So it's a real question of who is actually willing to spend that much on a little embroidered badge. Who thinks it's cool enough and worth it for that novelty? Yeah, I know, your life is so rough, Bingus. Bingus hates when I talk about stuff like this. It's so stressful for her. Yes, it is. You're so stressed. But, so, you know, like, it's something I want to do and I think is really cool. And I will at least try it out, especially with a couple different ideas. I think doing the little niche things might not sell as well, but I think they'll be really cool to do. You know, like I said with the Murder Drones one, having the glowy. And I think having a Gravity Falls themed one would be super cute. I don't know how I'd go about doing a Gravity Falls themed one, per se. Because I would like them to still be, like, furry badges, but I could always just do something a bit more simple and do icons, I guess, more so. Like, just, like, I could do, like, a little Waddles badge. Like, just have it be Waddles. Because I think that would be cute. Or Gompers, you know. Just something a little bit special to the show, embroidered on a badge. But I would like to do, like, maybe like just a little furry guy, a character, a fox or something, you know, wearing the hat and having one of the journals or something. Like, I think that would be cute. So there's a couple different ideas for that one. And, like, the same thing with Murder Drones. Like, they're robots, so I could do, like, a Protogen, you know? Or something along the lines of that, just for... Or I could just straight up do a design of one of the drones, you know? Or something from Murder Drones. That would be really cute. There's a lot of ideas. I have too many ideas, Jay. Like I said, I want to do the pelt blankets. I got a pre-made idea. I have several pre-made ideas. Half of them will never come to fruition. But they're all in my noggin. They're all in there. Waiting. And then, like, on top of that, I do have to actually make by hand entirely other stuff for cons. Like, I still have to finish those hand paws. I have exactly one paw. One singular paw completed out of, like, 6 different sets of paws. And all they need to do is be flipped, stuffed, and cuffed. So, I might actually do that next month. Depending on how things go. Because I am not going to be going to IFC like I hoped. I am still waitlisted for it, but at this point, I wouldn't be able to get a vendor's license in time if they don't. Because, like, I'm not going to bother paying to have a vending license for Indiana if I end up not even going at all, you know? that's just a unfortunate waste of money. And it takes a while for them to process that. So I'd have to be able to do it now, because if I wait any longer, it might not be ready in time for the con. So unfortunately, I'm not going to IFC, which is both unfortunate and fortunate, because that means I don't get to vend there like I wanted. But it also helps me as far as getting commissions done on time, and finishing up a pre-made I already have and stuff like that for future cons that I hope to get into. Like FWA, MCFC, things like that. I've got a few cons that I'm applying for. I'm kind of hoping that if I put my eggs everywhere, one of them will hatch. One of them will be in a nice sunny spot and it'll hatch. So that's just how that's going. Can I help you? I got real excited for nothing. There is no actual eggs. Just so you know, bud. They're all hypothetical eggies. Nobody's hatching. Only hypothetically. Yeah. He got real excited. I would hope so, you know. The thing is that there's so many people from everywhere, you know, applying to these cons. And a lot of the cons for these dealer's dens, most of them are not in any way first come, first serve. They are almost all by jury. So they pick and choose who they want where, and they decide that based on who they, like, who sells what, and what kind of setups they have, and, you know, how much space the con itself has for different things, because, like, they might only have 4 or 5 big spaces and then have 15 single tables, right? So it's like, as much as I might like a big space, I'd have better luck getting in at a smaller table, because they'd much rather put a big name like Made For You or Lemon Bread or something like that in the bigger booths, because first off, they know they're gonna do well. They know what they sell. They know they have a good setup, things like that. Like, they actually have the product to be in a bigger space. Since I haven't vended much at furry cons, exactly, yeah. Since I haven't vended much at furry cons, I don't really have any proof that my setup is good, aside from Artist Alley last year, really. Because honestly, the photo I have from Midland looks really sad. Extremely sad. And Bingus being in the picture does not help me out, because I think that causes some concerns for people sometimes. Even if she's not going, you know. Well, she's not, so you're retired. You're old now. Old grandma. But, so, you know, I'm trying. But there's so many people trying to get in and do things. A lot of it is fursuit makers, you know, people trying to sell pre-mades and stuff like that. And a lot of it is people selling merchy things like lanyards and t-shirts and pins and stickers and badges and things like that, you know, like, there's a lot of that. There's less as far as books go, I think. Like, there's a few novels. There's a few authors that write furry novels and stuff like that, but there's not a whole lot of that. So I think I have the coloring books going for me, because I haven't seen those. But there's also, you know, a lot of, just in general, there's a lot of overlap. And I am not a big maker. They'd much rather take a maker that they know is popular and put them in the den, or a maker that they know has a really good setup and will draw a crowd in the den, than someone that they have no guarantee will do either of those things. Um, which I understand, you know, like, it makes sense. But it's also sad because, dang it, it's kind of like, the whole entry-level jobs requiring 5 years of experience, but you can't get 5 years of experience because you can't get into the entry-level job. It's very much that kind of a deal, which is a little annoying. But I think, too, a lot of cons are starting to lean towards, well, everybody's sick and tired of seeing the same 5 people at every single con vending, you know? Like, Made for You's at a lot of cons. I saw Lemon Brat at a couple different cons. You know, they're all big names. Everybody knows their stuff, right? Everybody sees their stuff. And people are tired of going to the dealer's den and seeing the same people every time. So I think they're starting to lean towards the smaller makers and trying to get more variety, which is nice, you know? Not to hate on the big names at all or anything, because they're big names for a reason, you know? They are good at what they do. But people do like a variety, so it seems like they're starting to lean towards doing a much bigger variety than what they have in the past. Which for some cons is harder. Oh, that was the Tail Company, which isn't really even a furry company. They just happened to be at a furry event. Yeah, that was annoying. And I'm glad that they switched out their table. Because, yeah, like, that's the thing. They're popular. They're, you know, big and popular and whatnot. Like, people like the Tail Company because they have the really cool tails and stuff. And they are, you know, they know they're a company, they know they make good products, so they got let in. Because you assume, right, that a company that sells products wants to vend at your event is actually going to bring those products to your event. That still baffles me, that they paid for that much space and didn't bring anything. Just flabbergasted, honestly. But yeah, like, it's nice that, like, and that's the thing too, like, MCFC last year, since they've moved venues, did not have a lot of space at all for vendors. Like, they did much better last year than they did the year before, since they moved to that area for the dealer's den. Because the year before it was a lot of big names, big tables, right? So everybody's getting doubles, everybody's getting large spaces, but there was only maybe 20, 30 vendors in the dealer's den. And it was like, oh, well, that's not a whole lot, right? So last year they did a lot, they rearranged the dealer's den a bit too, which was nice. It was a lot better of a layout this year. So they were able to get more people in, and they did a lot of smaller tables, I feel. So they were able to get more vendors, and I saw a lot more smaller vendors, people I hadn't seen before and things like that, in those spots. So I feel like last year's dealer den overall was a lot better, aside from the Tail Company hiccup. So I'm really excited for this year, because I'm really interested in seeing what their dealer's den space is like at the new location. Because I would assume, right, since they're moving to a new space, that they have a bigger venue. It is a bigger venue, but, like, they have a bigger area for the dealer's den in particular. For dealer's den, for Artist Alley, for all that. I am really, 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 really hoping that not only is it roomier, because there was that one aisle in the dealer's den that was particularly cramped, unfortunately, but, you know, they were working with what they had. But also, hopefully that there are more spaces overall, right? Because I think the absolute most they had in the other space was like 45 or something like that, and that's if none of them were doubled. So, hopefully they can do more like 50, 60 vendors in the dealer's den, which will be a much bigger variety, hopefully, in what's available. But also that gives a better chance to a lot of the other people who are applying and stuff like that too. You know, like we all get a better chance of getting in just because there's more spaces available. Like, not everybody can be Anthrocon. We can't have 100-something vendors, you know? But at the same time, like, I guarantee you Anthrocon has more than 100-something vendors by a long shot applying to vend. So, which I would like to vend at Anthrocon. Someday. Not anytime soon. The taxes would kill me. It would be a lot. Taxes are already killing me as it is. And then of course having to travel to Pittsburgh and stuff for the con is expensive. Hopefully though, eventually, within the next couple of years, I'll get to go to Anthrocon just to go. I would love to go. I think it'd be a really fun experience to go to a con that big. I don't know that it's going to be fun in the middle of July, because it's hot as fuck right now. But, you know, I'd like to go at least once. But I don't think vending there is going to be a possibility for a long, long time. Both because taxes and because of availability. But I would also like to kind of be able to go around the country. Oh, are they? Interesting. Because, like, I know they do, like, they do the riverboat thing during the con. I know it's a big thing for the city in general. Like, it's a really big event. Because it brings in so many people, you know? It's like turning Pittsburgh into Frankenmuth all of a sudden. Like, turning Pittsburgh into Frankenmuth in December. Like, because Frankenmuth gets insanely busy around the holidays. Because, A, it's a tourist trap. It really is. It's just a tourist hotspot. But also, it's known for its Christmas shit. So it gets insanely busy. Like, that's when I first started working there, and God, the crowds during the day were insane. And, like, it gets decently busy in the summer, too, because, you know, summertime. But they're known for, like, Bronner's and stuff like that. So people come around for the holiday seasons around Thanksgiving, Christmas. And then suddenly Anthrocon is kind of turning Pittsburgh into the Frankenmuth for furries. Like, it's a big, big deal from what I've heard. So I'm not surprised, but I did not know that that was a thing. That they're doing it for the week. I did not know that there's a Bronner's billboard in Florida. That's interesting. Because, like, I've been to Florida. I haven't seen it. I've never understood the hype for Bronner's. Just in general, because it's really just the Christmas aisle if it were an entire warehouse. Like, that's all it is year round. I mean, I don't know if we took 75 to Florida, that's the thing. Because going to Florida, we went to Florida from Alabama. So we might have gone in a bit west of 75. I don't know. It's been years since I've been to Florida. I haven't been since we lived in Alabama, so I don't know. I didn't even drive back then, so I probably just wasn't paying attention more than anything else. The good old days when I didn't have to pay attention to the road in the car. I just got to exist. That is one thing I miss about not having a license, is not being the one who drives. I do like driving though. I like driving on the highway because it's pretty chill. You know, you're just going, you're riding, you're jamming, listening to podcasts. You know, road trip. It's good shit. But I don't get the hype for Bronner's. Like, I understand, like, for some people, like, oh, they've never been there before, it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip kind of thing. Especially if they're going to Frankenmuth anyway from out of state or even out of the country, you know. But, like, growing up, so I'm not originally from Michigan in the slightest. I grew up in New York, and we'd come visit family, because I have family here. So we'd come visit, whatever, and even though it's the middle of summer that we'd come visit, because it's, you know, not school time, I think it came up once for Christmas vacation, and that was it. Every other time it was during the summer. But almost every time that we came up here, we would come up and we'd go to Bronner's one day, and we'd just pick out a Christmas ornament for the year, you know? Something small and cheap that we could get from Bronner's. So it's always just kind of been a thing that we do. But to me, it was kind of like, oh, you go visit your family, so you go out for ice cream. You know? Like, it's just an activity. It's not really anything to be super hyped about. Which is also interesting, because I feel like that's the only thing we did in Frankenmuth when we came to visit. I think there was once that we stayed at the lodge, ? Years and years and years ago. I don't remember. But for the most part, that was it. That was the Frankenmuth experience for me as a kid. To the point that I didn't even know what Frankenmuth looked like until we actually moved here, and we moved close enough that I ended up working in Frankenmuth. It wasn't even until I started working in Frankenmuth that I really knew what it looked like. And that was like 2017-ish. Well, no, that would have been later, because that's when I first got my license. So, more like 2018, 19-ish? So for the first 19 years of my life, despite coming here every summer almost, for multiple summers, did not recognize Frankenmuth. Knew nothing. Didn't even recognize the bridge. That's how little we had been in Frankenmuth. I didn't know the bridge existed. Just Bronner's. And I didn't even know Bronner's was in Frankenmuth. Like, childhood me was like, oh shit, we're here? Bronner's? This place is weird. Alright, let's go look at Christmas ornaments. That was it. That's my experience with Frankenmuth and Bronner's as a child. Which is a very interesting experience. I feel like that's an odd experience to have. It's kind of abnormal for Frankenmuth or Bronner's. Maybe not the Bronner's part. I feel like a lot of kids just kind of zone out in the car, at least they used to. You know, I think these days a lot of people are on their phones or their tablets or whatever when they're in the car. But, you know, as a kid, you're just sitting here taking a nap, zoning out the window, watching that little guy run across the trees and shit while you're driving down the highway. You know the guy. Everybody knows the guy. Or the little wolf. Mine was always a wolf. And he was running real fast. He was jumping over things and buildings and stuff. You know. That should have been my first sign I was a furry. It was never a little parkour guy, it was a wolf. Anyway. But you know, kids zone out in the car, and the next thing you know, you're at Disney World, and you don't know how you got there. You just know it took a really long time in the car, and suddenly you were there. See, but that falls under little guy category. Like, that's a very specific little guy. Very specific. I think most people's little guy was closer to, like, a stick figure. But that falls under little guy. But yeah, so I think I had a fairly normal experience as far as getting to Bronner's and just suddenly being there. But I think a lot of other kids were far more hyped about their adventures at Bronner's for anyone who brought their children there. I did almost work at Bronner's. I was applying to work there seasonally, way back when I could. Back when I could actually hold a job. That was when I had Bingus, so, she would have been working there with me. Um, which means we likely would have been stuck to doing a cashier job or something like that, where we're not having to move around the store and the crowds and stuff, because people, especially people who don't speak English and aren't necessarily from the country, but even people who are from the States, are just terrible about wanting to pet her when she's working. Which is an experience that we've encountered a lot in Frankenmuth. There's several times where, despite her having a vest that says "Service Dog, Do Not Pet," there are grown adults who will be like, "Oh, a puppy," and pet her. And I'm like, "She's working," and they're like, "Oh shit, I can't read." And I'm like, "You should learn." And like, I'm not as upset at the people who don't necessarily speak English, or even the small children, right? Because like, they're off in a tourist city, they're on vacation. Kids don't necessarily understand. And especially like in Frankenmuth, there are a lot of people who take their pets through Frankenmuth. So I don't mind it with the tourists as much, but I got it from the locals too. And I'm like, guys, no. So that was interesting. But I did almost apply. And I got a phone call back. They were interested. But they're like, "Listen, we can have you, but you are absolutely 100% required to work Thanksgiving." And I had already made a plan to drive down to Mississippi that week. We'd already got the hotel booked and stuff like that. And this was, mind you, months in advance. So I was like, "Listen, I can't work that week at all because I won't even be in the state, unfortunately." And they're like, "Then we can't hire you." And I'm like, "Fair enough." And that's how a lot of the places were in Frankenmuth, where you had to work Thanksgiving, which I feel like is an odd day, like, not necessarily for the restaurants and stuff, right? Because people do go out to the restaurants for the holiday. That makes a bit more sense. Little less sense for a lot of the shops in town, though. Especially since it does not take that many people to staff those shops. Like, I did work at one of the stores in town. Not gonna name it because it was not a good experience. I ended up having to quit because I was accused of theft for no reason other than because I was new and I was young, therefore it must have been me. But there were, in total, I want to say 6 people, because there was me, yeah, I think 6 people that were staffed in that entire store for the entire week. Which, granted, the store had kind of odd hours. Like, it was like a 10 to 7 kind of thing. So it really was only like a 1-shift day. It's not like they're open from 4 a.m., from 5 a.m. to 4 a.m. like McDonald's, Even the ones that aren't open 24/7 are still open till like 1 or 2 a.m. So you don't really need that much staff because you're not having to fill multiple shifts each day. And they weren't even open the entire week. I think there was like 3 days out of the week they weren't even open. So 6 people was plenty as long as everybody actually showed up for their shifts. It paid real good. I did like working there aside from that. But that's how a lot of the smaller stores in Frankenmuth are. They have kind of odd hours because it's a touristy thing, especially during the off season, and they open up for around Christmas time and the holidays, and they might hire 1 or 2 people for that. But I think it's really odd, the whole, you have to work if you're, even as a seasonal employee. Like, I would have been working 4 months a year at this job. So not just like November, December, that wouldn't have been it. It would have been like September through January or something like that. October through January, I think it was. And they're like, you absolutely have to work Thanksgiving. I'm like, I know. You, Bronner's of all places, hires tons of people. And I'm like, listen, I would love to, but I have things I cannot cancel. I will happily work Christmas. I will happily work New Year's. I will work any other holiday. No problem. But I cannot work the week of Thanksgiving. And they're like, well, sucks to be you. And then they, couldn't hire me. I'm like, whatever. Honestly, though, probably dodged a bullet. I don't think I would have liked working at Bronner's. I don't think I would have liked being in a place that's that busy. Because, like, Frankenmuth, as I said, is generally busy, especially during the popular seasons. But Bronner's is insane. They are busy even in the off seasons. So during the holidays, I know they get crazy. And I think I would have been miserable. I think I would have been more miserable than the Sunday lunch rush at McDonald's. That's alright, because then I ended up moving and stuff anyway. I wouldn't have been there for very long. Definitely, Frankenmuth is something. I do still go there occasionally. In fact, I had to go back there next week because that's where the dogs go for their vet appointments. And we did have a vet appointment. Everybody did really good at the vet. Actually, Forrest. Oh, Forrest did so good for Forrest. Like, Bingus always does great. She's Bingus. She loves everybody. She likes the vet. She's a weirdo. She likes the vet because they give her cookies. Forrest does not like the vet's cookies. I would like to start off with that. Forrest hates the cookies that they have there. They're like these weird little circle, chewy, soft kind of cookies. But he normally has zero interest in it. He might put it in his mouth and then spit it out, which is saying something, because that dog will eat anything if it's on the ground. Literally anything. He's terrible. But yeah, we went in, and normally he's excited to go in, and then he gets in there and he's really nervous, and sometimes he barks because there's people, and he barks at a lot of people. He barks at people a lot. But he was quiet, well, quiet for him. He was very complainy. The whole time he's in there, like, he was upset that he had to sit in the exam room waiting for the vet. And then he got very, very upset, because they had to take him back for his little exam, and they had to take the dog separately for that. So, like, we're waiting in the room, and they're like, all right, we're going to take Sarah first because she's the easy one. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And as soon as she leaves the room, Forrest is crying. He is distraught. Like, how dare they take her and not him? And then, of course, literally a minute later, she's back. He's fine. And then it's his turn. But he did really good, aside from that. And one little bark. He did bark at one of the nurses, one of the vet techs. Because he's a meanie like that. But it was just one bark. And then he was quiet. And, we talked to the vet. We got his spot on his side checked out because we were worried about that. That's whatever. They said it's just damage to the hair follicles. They may or may not grow back. They don't know what caused it, but it's nothing to be particularly concerned about. So long as nothing crazy happens, nothing really changes with his little lump, he should be fine. And it's most likely benign. And I'm like, well, it's been a month and it hasn't changed yet, so if it's going to, we'll notice. We think it's really unlikely, especially with how long he's already had that little lump and bald patch. We do hope, though, that the hair around his lump grows back, because it looks a little funky. But It's not the end of the world, you know. It's not hurting him. He's fine. Bingus was good. Bingus is all healthy. She wasn't sick anyway. She just has a skin tag that she keeps getting scabbed. So we're gonna get that removed. They couldn't do it when we went in, so we have to go in next week so she can get her skin tag removed. And then Forrest is gonna get his hips x-rayed next week. Just because we're a little concerned about them. The vet isn't concerned. I am concerned. And he's willing to humor me and do some x-rays just to be on the safe side. So, which they did mention to me. They're like, he's still really young for his hips to be checked, because normally you don't get poodles' hips checked, OFA certified, until they're like 2, because he's still growing. He's still a baby. He's only a year, and you know, their joints are still solidifying and stuff like that. So they're still kind of loosey-goosey. But I am concerned about the clacking noise in his hips. So it might just be that he's still a little light on muscle, a little, because he is starting to fill out a bit more. He's not underweight, but he's definitely not as meaty as we'd like him to be, you know? He's at a healthy weight. We just want him to put on more muscle. So that might be all that it is that he doesn't have a lot of muscle in his lower back and hips to help his joints right now. But that shouldn't be an issue as he gets older. Oh, big stretch from the baby. So he's just going to get x-rays done just to be safe, and Bingus is going to get her skin tag off. But yeah, so we'll have to go back down there next week for that. That is on Wednesday next week, so I will not be streaming next Wednesday because it's going to be an all-day thing. Because he does have to be put under for x-rays. So they'll have him for a couple hours, and then when they're ready, they'll, you know, put him under anesthesia, do his x-rays, and then they have to wait for him to wake up, make sure he's breathing, swallowing, okay, all that jazz. And then we go pick him up. And that usually takes until, because we have to drop him off in the morning. And that usually takes until 2, 3 in the afternoon before I can actually pick him up. And Frankenmuth these days is a bit further away from where I live than it used to be. Like, it's a bit of a drive. So I will not have time next Wednesday to stream, but that's okay, because we'll still stream on Monday, hopefully, assuming we're not cooking or cooking our balls off in the office. As long as the office isn't super hot, and as long as I don't happen to have something going on, because that's what I know. Streams have been kind of bleh lately as far as scheduling goes. Like, I've changed. I'm also realizing it's a Wednesday, and I started the stream at 2, like I do on Mondays. Which is a whoopsie on my part. I'm just so used to starting at 2. Oh well, you guys get an early stream today. That's my bad. I forgot I switched Wednesdays over to a bit of a later stream. That's alright. I might just stream for a little bit longer today then. Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. Yeah, there's just been a lot of life stuff going on the last couple of weeks, so I know I keep missing days, but hopefully things will chill out. There won't be so many things happening and things I have to go run around and do and stuff like that. Like, I've had a lot of doctor's appointments lately, and family stuff going on, so. Which hopefully now we're done with the doctor's appointments. Yeah, we should be done with those. I don't think I have any scheduled again until August. And that one I'm pretty sure is on a Tuesday, so it shouldn't affect this anyway. And it's not anything important. It's just a checkup type deal, you know. A review to make sure that my meds are working. They kind of are. So, you know, better than them not working at all. But it's been hectic. It's been so busy here between the dogs and doctor's appointments and things going on and happening and trying to get commissions done and get other commissions ready to go and waiting on fur. The fur did come in, so we can finish the other foot paw now. Huzzah! That will be tonight and tomorrow's thing. Is getting that paw patterned and traced and hopefully sewn. Which, as you can see, we've sewn all the stripes in on the arms. The arms are sewn in. And we're working on sewing in the stripes on the leggies. These are just the thighs. Which, granted, they look a little funky right now because it still needs that big thigh piece. The other one's a bit more together. That's actually the stripe I'm sewing in, is the big hole right here. Because it's one big stripe. So. And then once we get all the stripes sewn in, I'm going to trim them so they look a little bit more crispy clean. Because like all of these curved shapes are a bit hard to brush and trim when they're sewn onto the body. So what I'll do is I'll kind of lay it flat along those middle seams, like so, and try to trim them. Just because like it's not quite as crisp as it could. I still think it looks really good. I think it looks nice, but having the crispy pop is also a nice option. It's what I generally do on suits anyway, so. I'm going to try to do a happy medium, right? Like I'm going to try to trim them so that way they are crispy, right? And they pop a bit. But I'm not going to try to trim them so much that they don't look fluffy anymore. I feel like there's a lot of makers that when they trim it, they go super short, and then it's short there, which is fine if that's the look you're going for, I should say. But it's not necessarily what I want to do for this suit. We want to keep him fluffy and cute looking while also having that crisp pop of details. So it's going to be a lot of taking the little scissors and just pretty much hair by hair going around and trimming. And that will probably take a day or two on its own to just do that. But then, since all the stripes will be mostly done. Not all of the stripes, I should clarify. There is one stripe on the shoulders of each arm that I can't actually sew in until the arms are sewn in onto the body. And I don't sew the arms onto the body until pretty much the very end. Usually I do them last, but this time around I might do them before I sew the legs onto the body. Just because I have to sew those stripes and trim them. Because there is most of the stripe is like on the arm, and then there's a little bit that's up on the shoulder, so it crosses that seam there. So that's how that's going. But otherwise, we're going to get all the rest of the stripes sewn. We're most of the way there already. There's only a small handful of stripes left, because we are on, let's see here, 19 times 2? 8, carry the 1. We're on 38 out of 45? 48? Do I know math? Do I? I think 19 times 2 is 38, right? Because 9 and 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 3, 8, 38. Yeah? I think so. Pretty sure. Anywho's. There are, 30 out of 48, so there's only 10 more stripes to do. And like I said, the last two won't be able to do until the arms are on, so We're gonna sew all these stripes. And then trim them, and so hopefully once, because that's, I realize I'm talking in circles. I have a tendency to do that, where I just say the same 3 things over and over. Forrest, stop licking your feet. Thank you. We gave him a haircut yesterday, because he is now definitely going through his coat change. And it was causing, like, his top knot and stuff to start getting kind of matted. Because the hair is just not, the puppy fur and the grown-up fur are just, and it was driving me nuts, because I would brush him, and then 10 minutes later, I swear, he had another mat, and I'm like, so we just shaved him down again, so he's naked all over again, everything but his tail, really, so we're just gonna hope that, that helps prevent a bunch of crazy matting, rather than having to brush him 6 times a day and hope we get it all and then it doesn't mat overnight or something. This is just a lot easier on both of us, because then I don't have to do all the extra work, and he doesn't have to sit through all the extra work, because he is still a puppy and he does not have the patience for that. As good as he is about being groomed, he barely had the patience for the haircut, so, and the bath that we had afterwards. We're just going to keep him naked for a little bit, let his hair grow back out, and then hopefully, once his hair gets nice and long and fluffy again, it'll be all his adult hair, and we can give him a really cute haircut again, because I do miss doing that, like the mohawks and stuff. Yeah. I'm probably still going to keep him short overall, though, like a mostly short haircut, just because it is a lot of work to brush out and line brush an entire dog. Yeah, it was, especially when the entire dog doesn't want to sit still for it, because he would much rather be doing other things. Yeah. So just keeping him short overall just means, like, he's not going to be a straight shave, but it'll be like, oh, he'll just have his top knot and his tail kind of a thing. I do think for Halloween, it would be really fun to grow out his top knot and his neck fur and give him like a lion's mane, and then shave his tail, except for the end of it, to be like a lion tail, stuff like that. I would also like to have a little bit of longer fur on him, just for fun. You know, I think it looks cuter. I think he looks weird with his little flat head. Like, he looks like a weird little lab. And not even like a good lab, like a weirdo. He's a cute little weirdo, though. Oh, yes you are. But so many things to do, and I keep getting sidetracked. Hopefully, this suit won't take too much longer to do. I was hoping to have it done by the end of the month. Obviously, that didn't happen. Sewing in all those spikes took longer than I expected them to. By a long shot, actually. I thought sewing in those spikes was going to take, like, 1 or 2 days at best. In fact, I thought it was really going to take 1 day to sew them all in. And it took almost a week. 2 weeks? Don't remember at this point. It took a long time just to do those spikes and then finish the head. Which now we know, spikes take a longer time. I don't usually do that many. Oh, big stretch. Oh, big stretch. Yeah, is that how we feel? How was your nap? Oh, big stretch. Oh, the biggest stretch. Oh, big. Oh, you got a little grunt going? Oh, you got a big yawn, Bingle. Everybody's waking up from their nap. Oh. Hi, hello. Can I help you, sir? Oh. Your ear, bud. Your ear is inside out. Here. You gotta go potty? Why do you... Go ask your dad. Go ask your dad. Oh my goodness. Alright. I guess we'll do a pause so the dogs can have a potty break real quick, because he took a nap and now he's gotta pee. Ugh. And we're back. Can I help you, sir? Cool beans. But anyways. Forrest! Bud. He didn't even have to go. He just wanted to bug me. No. But, hopefully, gosh dang it, String. We get this suit done within the next week or so. So long as I can manage to actually sew all these stripes, which we're almost done with. Hooray. But once I get them all sewn in, it should be really quick to just work up the rest of the bodysuit and get that all sewn together. Because that part won't be hand sewn, I'll be able to do all of that by machine. These pieces are simultaneously both small enough that I have to sew them by hand, but also big enough that doing so is taking forever. It's mostly like the little points on the triangles are really hard to sew because they're tapered triangles. They're like a perfect triangle. So they got really tight corners that it's hard to get the machine under. But so all of these have to be hand sewn, but all of the big pieces will get machine sewn, and that'll go super quick. And then there shouldn't be too much more left to do. here all nice and brushed out. Do some nice pictures, videos, all the good stuff. And then he'll hopefully be done in this. Now granted, he does still need his pocket. I haven't sewn that up. I plan on doing that sometime today. Since I have to get the sewing machine out anyway to work on the toe beans. Either today or tomorrow. Depends on how far I get. But, he will get his body pocket. That'll probably also be one of the last things sewn in. Forrest! Do! Just because I want to make sure that it's in a good spot and stuff like that. Originally, I was going to sew it into the hip seam right here, the waist seam, along the thighs, so that I wouldn't have to make another seam. And I might still do that. The hard part is that affects how I have to machine sew that seam. And it might be easier, because we want to hide the zipper, right? That's the biggest thing. We want to hide the zipper, and generally the easiest way to do that is in already existing seams, because you expect those seams to be there, so you don't question that they're there. We also want the zipper to be perpendicular to the fur, because if it's along with the fur won't necessarily cover it as much as it'll just kind of go around it. So we'll see. We'll see how things work out. Generally, though, I do want to put it on like the belly waist area of the suit, along where that thigh seam is. I do also still have to shave some of the suit, because I haven't done that yet, mostly because I do not want to get the clippers out again. Sick and tired of having fur all over all of me. But I went to shower anyway, because it's hot in here, and I am sweating. So I might do that also today. Because I do shave the crotch seams, of bodysuits, and up to below where the tail sits, just because when you have full-length fur like this, the friction from the tail and your legs tends to cause a lot of matting in those areas. So shaving there just keeps it looking nice, and then you don't have to worry about it. Oh, come on. There we go. There's a lot that goes into a bodysuit. He doesn't even have a zipper zone in yet. I gotta sew that in before I sew anything else in, otherwise it's gonna be a pain in my butt to do. That's usually how I start bodysuits, is I shave their crotch lines, and then I sew in their zippers down wherever their zipper seam is going. Usually I have kind of like side zippers more. It comes down the front of the suit. It's not on the side of the suit. But usually it's off to the side, because a lot of characters have belly. They have like a belly stripe pattern. So I usually do it along that color split, since there's already a seam there, which again helps hide the zippers. But since he does not have that, there's no good spot to really hide his zipper, so he is just going to get his zipper straight down the middle. And we'll still be able to hide it, it just won't be as easy as down a color, see? It'd still be fairly easy though, just because it's long fur. It's a longer pile. With shorter furs, it's hard to hide a lot of things, like a teddy fur and stuff like that. Mostly just because of things like the fur is so short it can't like drape over seams and stuff like that, which makes it nice because, well, I mean, it doesn't make it nice for that, but it's nice for not having to brush your suit as often and getting really crisp details right off the bat without having to do a bunch of extra trimming. But it's just not as fluffy and soft to do shorter furs, and they don't hide zippers as well and things like that. So it really just depends on what kind of look you want to go for. Yeah, I try to find songs that aren't super popular. I mean, not necessarily unpopular songs. I try to find songs I like that aren't like the first song on the list, you know? Because I get the songs from the same places that a lot of other streamers and YouTubers get them from. So I'm sure they have used it on a time lapse. Yeah, well, you have to, unless you're paying for the royalties. And even if you are, YouTube's really mean about it. Like, awful. So it's just best to avoid like copyright strikes to have stuff that is royalty free. So I'm sure they get all their songs from the same places I get all my songs. It's just funny that we have them. That's the thing I've noticed too, is a lot of the people that make royalty-free songs on the website I go to for most of them, if you go to their profile and you look at the song you have, there's usually 4 or 5 different versions of the exact same tune. Like, it'll be this, but with more bass. Or this, but it's missing this one instrument. Or it's slightly faster, or, you know, it's dropped down an octave. But otherwise, it's the exact same. Like, there's just one little difference in each version. Otherwise, it's the same song, you know? Which doesn't matter too much when you're doing, like, you know, background music for a commercial. But it's kind of annoying. Because in every single song, there's like 7 versions of it. I'm like, I don't want to hear 7 versions of the same thing. I want different things. It's very hard to find that. Oh. There we go. If I could, I would happily get permission from big artists, or any artist really, to use their music on stream. You know, especially if it's stuff I like. Like, I have discovered that I really, really like Electric Swing. But I also like 2000s, like, pop music vibes, you know. And dad rock. Who doesn't like Nickelback, you know? Right. I've got several different vibes that I particularly like, but like right now it's really the jazz swing that's doing it. Like yes, the electric jazz or whatever, electric swing music. But like I would happily team up with someone to have music that's not just random royalty-free stuff that sounds decent, you know? It'd be nice to have actual music playing in the background with lyrics and stuff. Catchy stuff to sing to, you know? To jam out to. But alas, for now, this is what we have. This and 2 dead doggos. Forrest is in the way of Bingus's chair, so she can't lay on it. Oh, poor Grandma having to sleep on the floor. Not that Forrest cares, he's already on the floor. He's already eaten. Oh, big baby. Big baby mans. Eek. Like this one. This is a good one. I like songs that you don't, like, types of music that you don't generally consider to have, like, a bass in them. Like, upbeat types of songs that you don't generally think should have, like, I like house music. Not all house music. I'm very particular about the house music I like. But generally, I like house music. But I think it's really funny. And I just really like when it's something that's, like, not the kind of genre you would generally consider to have a bass drop to it. I like when it has that. When it has that strong beat in the bass drops. But I also, like, my issue with a lot of house music is that it's constant noise a lot of the time. Like, there's very little variation in the soundtracks from being loud to quiet to, like, it's all up here. You know, like, there's very little, it's just constant for a whole 3 minutes of whatever they're playing. It's like, I need a breather, you know? And there are some artists that do really good with that. And they give you that breather, and they give you a bit more variety within each song. But a lot of songs are just go, 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 go the whole time. Which is nice once in a while, but I'm not a big fan of it personally, you know? I don't know how to explain it. Because I feel like I'm not explaining it very well. But oh well. Oh. It is hot in here. Toasty, toasty, toasty. There we go. These are the biggest stripes on this suit. This one right here. There's a couple other large stripes, but they're not as complicated as this one. So these ones will take me the longest to actually put in. And I already have the other one in. But these will take me the longest to sew up, I guess. And probably to trim as well, just because, you know, there's more to trim. Just the way it goes. But I think these will look really cool when they're actually trimmed and stuff. Like, they look cool right now, you know? They'll look even cooler once they're trimmed. I'm ready for a nap. Hi, Bingus. You having fun being dead? Yeah. The last few days, aside from me running around and doing things, whenever I am home, a lot of my day has just been, sitting on the couch and binging Friends while I sew. So far, I'm on season 5. I believe I started rewatching it like a week ago, so... it's hard finding new stuff to watch that isn't too much, you know? Like, there's a Mark video I need to catch up on, and there's a couple other YouTube videos I want to watch, and I just haven't, because I'm like, oh, well, I have to watch those when I go to bed so I can actually pay attention to them. Because if I'm sewing, I'm not looking, you know, and I'm not really paying attention so much. So a lot of, like, what I do is just rewatching things I've already seen, because then I don't have to worry about, am I paying attention, and am I actually comprehending what's going on in the show, and I can put more time to, you know, more effort and attention span to sewing. Like, I like to consider that I'm pretty good at multitasking, but I'll be honest, 9 times out of 10, no. Like, most of this is me sewing, but I'm also really just randomly rambling about whatever topic pops in my head, and then words come out of my mouth, and they're not always the best words. Like, sometimes the words aren't necessarily what I mean to say, and then sometimes I say things and I'm like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, because that sounds way meaner than I actually intended, and I did not mean to sound mean. Stop licking your feet, bud. Don't eat your feet. You little weirdo. You got a clump of Bingus on your chin. I need to shave his face. His face is getting long again. That's future me's problem. Stop. You're so gross. I do need to do his nails, though. That I have to do today. I have to do his nails. Probably Bingus's nails, too. Her nails grow super fast now that she's old. They didn't used to. She also used to walk around a lot more, so I'm sure they got filed down from her trot, 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 you know. But yeah, no, just sitting here, like... it's really just a stream of consciousness coming out of me. And sometimes that stream of consciousness does not come out very well. Sometimes I just say things and I'm like, man, no, you should stop talking. Like, I feel like I unintentionally insult people a lot, and I really, really don't mean to. That is my bad. Odds are, if I say something that sounds mean, I'm really not trying to say something mean. I'm just also really bad at words when I'm multitasking, and I don't necessarily think them through first. And even if I'm not multitasking, I don't always think my words through first. And I need to be better about that. But, you know, 'tis life. We learn and we work on things. Someday I'll get better at talking. Which is interesting, because people say I talk a lot. You know, say I talk too much, don't I? It's one thing everybody says I'm real good at doing, it's just talking. Forever and ever and ever. Which, believe it or not, is not true. I have what I personally think is a very unfortunate reputation for being really talkative and never shutting up. I feel like you guys just see me when I'm talking. Like, I see people, you know, I'm hanging out with people and I'm talking to them because I'm hanging out with them. But any other time, Like, I do not actually talk that much. I just happen to talk really fast about a lot of things when I'm talking to people, or to supposed people. Because, you know, I like to assume people actually watch this, but most of the time I know darn well people aren't watching this. Can I help you, sir? Say it's alright. You like to listen to me ramble, don't ya? Yeah, don't you big baby? Oh, big stretch. Oh, did you have to touch me while you did it? Did you have to stretch on me? Oh, big stretch. You're a goofball. Yes, you are. Hey, I'm trying to sew. You're gonna get stabbed if you do all that. I'm gonna poke your face with my needle. Oh, what? No, you do not have to go outside. You do not. I know you don't, because you just went out there and you didn't even have to go, and I had to beg you to use the bathroom. You're just bored. Yes, you are. You're a bored baby with fur on your face. It's not even your fur. The baby, he is bored. He's bored and he's nosy. Nosy baby. Where's your whale, huh? Why don't you go get your toy? Go get a toy. Go. You have so much fur on your face. Come here. It just all sticks to the end of his face. Ah. Focus, bud. Can you sit? Oh, good boy. How about a boot? Oh, good job. Shake. Yes, good boy. Go find it. Go get your whale. Go get it. He's just bored. He wants to go outside and run around, but he was a little shit yesterday, so going outside and running around means he has to have his harness and his long line on again. Because he decided the neighbor's yard is where he needed to be in order to scream at the neighbor, which was very, very rude and not allowed. Where's your toy? Go get it! So now he's in, like, kind of a timeout. But also, it's really freaking hot out, and we'll be out there for all of 5 minutes before he starts dying of heat stroke. Like, it's too toasty for all that. Like, even for him, like, we go outside today, and he's like, can we come back in now? Like, I don't want to be out here. And then you come inside, and he's like, you know what? I want to be back outside. And I'm like, no, stop it. Pick one. Inside, outside. And it's gonna be inside, because I don't want to be outside. Good job, buddy. Yes, good boy. You want me to throw it for you? Ready? Lay yeet. It's been yeeted. Can I help you? I see. Can I help you? If you want me to throw it, you gotta bring it here. Nothing? Okay, cool beans. Now here's the real question. First off, how fucking cool is your attack that you got? Second off, are you gonna finish doing all the other attacks you wanted first, or are you gonna just finish the one you're on and then revenge them? Also, you better show me. I want to see it. I want to see the arts you gotted. You gotta bring the toy over here, man. I can't throw it for you from way over there. Can you take it, please? Take it. Forrest, get your toy. Bring it here. Take it. Oh my god, I hate you so much. I'm not gonna fight you for the toy, man. Just give it to me. Take it, Forrest. Take it. Buddy. Take it. Yes, good boy. Give it here. You have to let me grab it first, man. Yeet. Yeah. Yeah, good job, bud. There's so much Bingus fur. I'll have to vacuum in here soon. And her chair again. Bingus is exploding right now, so. Gotcha. Now I'm jealous. I want to do art fight. I want to do the art fight, but I don't have the time. Maybe after this. Maybe after I'm done with this suit. Because that's the thing. I would do art fight right now, this very moment. If it weren't for the fact that I'm already behind schedule. Like, if I were on schedule, I wouldn't be so worried. But I am behind. Give me the toy. I would also appreciate it if you didn't sit your toy on the fursuit parts. Dogs. Well, don't kill your sister, good lord. Comes power sliding in here and almost knocks her over. Okay, guys. Out. No, out. Thank you. You too, Forrest. Go. Go play out there. Go. Thank you. Too much skedaddling. We did do a bunch of playing before we came in here for stream. Get out of the office! Out of the office. Go. Thank you. Good boy. See, the thing is he doesn't want me to throw the whale as much as he likes playing fetch. He wants me to play Find It with the whale. Which is where I spend a long time. It's a very tedious game. It works great if I hide it really well. Problem is, if I hide it really well, he probably won't find it, and then he gets frustrated about it and gives up. So I have to make it hard enough to where it takes him a minute to find it, but easy enough to where he will definitely still find it. Yeah, you like playing Find It, huh? So what it is like I have him sit, usually in here, because this is the furthest end of the house, and he can't see the rest of the house from here. I'll have him do a sit stay, and I'll take the whale, and I'll go put it somewhere, and then I'll tell him to go find it. Yeah, I do. He's just standing there by the office door, looking at me. He's like, what? And then he, runs around the house, and he tries to find it from wherever I hid it. And he's pretty good at it, sometimes. And then other times, you'd think a spot that was easy, and it's not, because he doesn't even think to look in that direction. Like, 9 times out of 10, I put stuff on, like, floor level. Do not eat the loose fur off of her chair. You've got a frickin' beard, man. Stop it. Yeah, out of the office. Out of the office. I need to vacuum her chair, too. Ugh, that might be the next thing after stream, is just vacuuming in here, because, there's a lot of fur. Bingus fur, fursuit fur, just fur in general. So much fur. Sir, out of the office. Thank you. I usually do deep cleans between commissions, just because there's less stuff. You know, there's less boxes of fur, there's less fursuit parts, things like that that are in the way and make it harder to clean. And I don't have to worry about accidentally throwing away something that I want to keep, you know, like a pattern or something that I need or a piece of fur. So it's just easier in general to deep clean when I can get, sir, out of the office. Go. Thank you. He's beat a butt. It's colder out there anyway. I don't know why he wants to be in here. It's hot in here. The AC does not reach this far. And it's not like the fault of the AC. The AC could cool off this entire house. The problem is this entire house has awful circulation. Because we got a lot of narrow hallway spaces that don't get enough airflow. So even though the AC is only a room away, this room goes through like this really narrow little hallway in our house. So it's just, it's always warmer in here than it is in the rest of the house. Same goes for our bedroom too, as our bedroom is kind of on a weird spot. And of course it's got a nice big full window that gets lots of sun all day. It doesn't get enough air circulation without an extra fan, so it's usually hotter than the rest of the house. Just because it's not close enough. But that's okay. It's nice in the winter. It gets nice and everywhere heats up nice in the winter. Like, the office is really nice because there's actually, underneath this, there is a heater on the floor. Which is why I bought a rack like this, because I very specifically needed it to be tall enough to go above the vent, because it's not a flat floor vent. It is like a big, bulky thing up against the wall. Not one of the convenient vents. Why would it be? So I needed something that I could raise up high enough to go above that, and then some, so that way it doesn't, you know, cook things on the shelves. While also having a lot of shelf space. You know, it was very hard to find something that could do that, so I just bought something that was modular that I could do that with. And then I got a smaller version of it in the back corner over there, because I love this shelf. Like, it was pretty easy to put together for the most part. And it's working really good. And then, like, if I ever want to rearrange things, you know, move them, like, I may or may not move the printers. I don't know that I like them on these shelves. So I might move them over to that shelf. The problem is, there's only so many outlets over there. Like, right now, there's also an outlet right underneath this shelf. And that's what they're plugged into, is the outlet there. Whereas the 3D printer and the embroidery machine are plugged into an outlet that's by that shelf. And I don't think there's any more on this wall. I think it's just the one there, and then the one here, and the one here. And then I do think there's one on the other walls, but I think there's one outlet on each wall. Which is enough outlets. The problem is they're kind of in inconvenient spots. So like the one on the wall facing my back is behind a shelf that is not easily accessible. It's right in the middle of the wall too, so it's kind of in a stupid spot. But there's only so much it can do, you know. Because I've also debated moving this desk and swapping it with that desk, so that way I have the window in front of my desk. Just because I think that would be nice. But then I'd be in front of the window all the time, with my back to the door of the office. And that's not as fun. I've also debated, like, putting this back in that corner and this over here. The issue with that is that there is actually a small door on this wall that accesses pipes and stuff for like our water tank and things like that. Very important stuff that we occasionally have to be able to get into. So I need to have enough space to get into that door. Which you would think, oh, well, that's not an issue, right? Like, obviously your setup already works for that. You planned this shit, and I did. I'm a good planner. Problem is the only reason this fits the way it does is because where my laptop and the microphone are currently sitting is actually an extension of this desk that I personally made that folds down, it collapses. So it's a little fold-away section of the desk, specifically so we could get into that part of the room. So it goes pretty much over there. It's maybe like 4 or 6 inches away from the wall. But then when it folds down, there's a solid 2-3 feet, and that door can open fully without me having to take the entire desk and move it. Which is good, because I have a lot of storage under my desk. Like, I have a pack-out tote, I have a bunch of little small drawer things that store stuff, and, you know, there's a drawer in the desk. It's where I keep all my duct tape. Just put my rolls of duct tape down there. So I try to let as much storage exist in this room as possible with what I have. Which is easier said than done, you know? I do like the pack out though, because then I can put my leggies up like this. And it's comfy. Because what I used to have, way back when I first started, was literally just one of these big plastic totes from off the shelf, underneath, full of random stuff. So that meant that anytime I wanted to grab something, I had to pull it all the way out, and I had to, you know, pop open the lid and reach in there and dig around for stuff. So then it would get mixed up all the time and disorganized and be hard to find anything, and it was not fun. But with the pack out, it's got drawers. So all the drawers just slide out, which is nice. And then too, if I ever want to take it with me somewhere, it does have a locking mechanism. So it's good for traveling with too. But it stores quite a bit. It stores a nice lot of stuff. And like the other little drawers, again, it's a whole thing of, well, they're easy little drawers that go into like a modular thing, so I can swap them out, I can flip them around and whatnot. Like, it's where I keep all the fans for my fursuit heads, it's where I keep my magnets, the battery packs, these things, the lobster clasps for like leashes and collars and stuff. Well, not collars, but you know, leashes and stuff. Small bits and bobs like that stay under there. Which is great. And like, I like having storage so much because everything, I don't buy something if I can't give it a home. That's my big thing. The problem is that recently that has turned into I'm buying something and it doesn't have a home, therefore I need to make it one, which is how the shelf back there came to be. Because the old bookshelf was not doing it. It was not offering a lot of usable space. There was a lot of wasted space there because I couldn't adjust the shelves to fit as many things. There's only 3 shelves, whereas that one has 5, and it's the exact same height, you know? And there is still some wasted space. Like, I could probably drop that top shelf down a few inches, so then the stuff's not as high up and it's easier to reach. In fact, I might do that later, just because I am short. That thing is as tall as I am, which sucks. But either way, besides the point, it works out nice. So then I have a home for things and stuff. If I can, actually, because I have an issue, like, there's some things getting stacked on each other over there right now. And, like, there's a big section of space that's not getting used on the shelf that the sewing machine is on. Granted, at the moment, the other sewing machine is just on the floor, because I've been using it, and I'm too lazy to walk all over there, move stuff, and sit it on there. So it's just been living on the floor for the last week. And it's like, well, why move it? I'm going to use it again. Sewing machines are heavy. But normally that's where both the sewing machine live is on that one big shelf. But there's some stuff over there that needs to be rearranged. And I might eventually purchase an additional shelf if I can for that shelf rack. So it'll have 6 sections instead of 5. Just because I could definitely put one in between the last 2, the very top one and the second one. And that would give me more space to put things like the hand paws or tails for a suit I'm working on. Or more space to put like the stuff that's stacked up mostly. 'Cause that's my biggest problem. I feel like I also need to rearrange the closet again. It's a mess. But I can't get into the closet because there's several boxes of fur over there right now. Which have nowhere to live because I have too much stuff. But all those furs are for like commissions and stuff right now, so they'll get mostly used up eventually. I will definitely have leftovers of each. Hello. Didn't I tell you to leave the office? Didn't I tell you to get out? You're a weirdo. Okay, bye. Don't stare at me now. He is so unnerving sometimes because he just sits there. All the time. Constantly. Yeah, you just sit there making that face. It's because he's hot. He's panting right now because he's hot. But he's a big starer. He loves staring, and you're like, dude, don't. You get out of the office. If you're gonna be in here, you need to lay down and take a nap, bud. Spent all morning playing with you before streaming. I did. He even got in the pool this morning. Chase a ball in there. We have a little kiddie pool out back. It's nothing big. I bought it specifically for the dogs because I know they both like the beach, but our beach is really gross and we can't afford to drive to a beach further away. And it's summer, so it's hot. So I was like, oh, well, for like $20, I can get them a really big kiddie pool. Granted, they have since put holes in said kiddie pool, so it's now covered in duct tape, which is actually working extremely well. I did not expect it to work that good on a pool, of all things. But it's working, so, you know, duct tape, kiddie pool. And I'll probably have to put some more on it the next time we take it down. And eventually that whole bottom will be nothing but duct tape. But they do like it. They like the kiddie pool. He likes chasing water more than being in it. Bingus likes to sit in the pool. She likes to chill in the water. Problem with Bingus is you get her wet and she stays wet. She does not dry off quickly at all. Like, I'll usually spend... We have a high velocity dryer now that we have Forest. So I will usually spend, you know, a good 20-30 minutes just blow drying her. Blown drying her real good to get all the extra water out. And even after that, she's still really wet. And she will take several hours to air dry. And it's like, dude, look, we'll towel dry her. We towel dry her, we blow dry her. And then she's still really wet. And then there's a Bingus-shaped blob on the couch every time. And it's like, dang it, now all of our furniture smells like wet dog. But oh well, at least she's happy. She likes the pool. As long as Bingus doesn't get moldy. we're all good. Speaking of, I need to shave Forrest again. His armpits are getting really fluffy. And I didn't shave under him yesterday when I gave him his haircut because he was not up for it. So today we'll give him his belly trim. For now, though, sewing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing things. Do I have time? Technically, no. That's okay. I'll keep sewing. I think today what we'll stream for a little bit longer. And by a little bit, I mean like half an hour, probably. It depends. But I will finish sewing up this stripe, and then I think we'll call it good for the day. And I'm only halfway through doing the stripes, so it's going to be a little bit yet. If I actually pay attention, do my job, we'll make progress. There we go. Oh yeah. Now I gotta think about plans for dinner, because I'm hungry. And I should make something for dinner that isn't a cheese stick. It's probably gonna be a turkey sandwich, though. Because we have turkey for sandwiches. Brain hole. There we go. I did. Oh, I gotta make bean dip. Bean dip sounds really good. I gotta get chips for that first, though. I bought stuff for bean dip, and I bought everything but the chips. So nobody said I was smart. That's okay, though. We can't always be a genius. Hi, baby mans. Are you actually behaving yourself, or are you being a butt? Okay, bye. Hi, Bingus. There we go. And now we just got this one last little strip to sew in for this stripe. And these little tight corners are always the hardest part. And that's why these are all hand sewn. It's just because of these little corners on these stripes. If they were larger, like twice the size, it wouldn't be an issue. Or if they had like a wider corner to them, it wouldn't be so bad. But, and I'd be able to machine sew them. That's okay. We do not mind. Because it's going to look cool. Gonna be the coolest looking thing. Coolest looking thing. Anywho's. Yes! I was supposed to, you weren't wrong. I was supposed to start at 4. I forgot that I switched Wednesdays to 4. So I started at 2. So that's my bad, not yours. That's on me. I completely forgot that I had switched them. But yeah, you can see he's got his stripies on his arms. He's really far away. But... And then we're most of the way through the stripes on his leggies. This is stripe number 1938. This is stripe number 38 that we're still working on. It's numbered 202, but there is not 202 stripes on this. I just have a really weird numbering system for my patterns. Technically, the biggest one is 242, is the highest number, which means nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. It means something, but it does not mean that there's 242 pieces. Again, I'm just really weird. But he's gonna look cool. I haven't trimmed any of the stripes yet. I'm going to trim them once I get them all sewn in, and then they'll get all nice and crispy. Crispy little stripes. Well, hello, baby mans. He's just bringing all of his toys in here at this point. He just really, really, really wants me to throw all of his toys. Buddy. Mind you, don't feel bad for him. We've been playing all morning. We have. We went outside and we played. We played Find It. I threw, like, at least 6 of your toys. Multiple times. He's not very good at fetch, so he tends to just bring me random toys. E for effort, though. Like, so far he's brought his whale in. You guys can't really see it, but it's in front of Bingus. He brought his fish in, which is underneath him. And now we have his pink ball. That is probably still full of pool water, so thanks for that. Fine. I'll roll your ball for you. And away it goes. You should get it. Get that ball. Get the ball. There you go. Good job, bud. He's having fun. You know. They like the really big balls. My dogs are weirdos. Oh, well, that was not bad. Yeah, no, I didn't kick it very far. He's too far away for me to kick it now. It's over there. By Bingus. He's been very distracting today. Get your ball if you're gonna. Don't mind me, Bingus. I'm just using your chair as a footrest. Oh, there we go. But yeah, we got most of the stripes sewn in. Because I think there's, yep, just one more stripe on the thighs, on each thigh. And then there's the 2 stripes on the ankle pieces. And that's pretty much it. Right? I know how to count. It's 1. It's 2, 4, 6. I don't think I know how to count, but, you know, we're doing the best we can. That's okay. Buddy. Lay down, please. Forrest. Thank you, good boy. See, and you got your whale. Hi, Bingus. You a good girl. Yeah, you're a good girl. You've been laying in your chair. Do not lick her toes. That's just weird. I don't want you licking your toes. What makes you think I want you licking her toes? At least he's entertaining himself, I guess. There we go. Come on. Yeah. That's how you feel. Yay! Halfway through there. Yeah, I'll have to show you guys once we got this stripe shown in how the thighs are looking. Because they are looking good. They are looking so good. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for seeing this bodysuit all done. And once the bodysuit's done, of course, we'll have all the other pieces. Because the fur came in, so we can finish the foot paw. So then we'll finally have all of our pieces, all of Reese's pieces together. You can see everything put together. It's going to look so cool. Do not lick her toes. He's like, I'm not. I'm just sniffing her toes. He's gross. Why do you let him do stuff to you like that, Bingus? She's like, I'm old, I don't care. But it's gonna look so cool once when everything's together. Yeah. Hello, baby man. Shoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. I just gotta do our weird little stitch in the corner here. Your life's that rough, huh, Bingus? She's had such a rough life. You guys don't even know. Today, she had to wake up. And then she had to go outside. Then, she got to sit on the couch. Tough stuff, guys. Tough stuff. There we go. There's that stripe. And of course, these all have to be brushed out before I trim them too, because there's still some fur that's tucked in. Because this is the inner part of the thigh, so it would sit like this on the leggies. He's got all his nice leg stripes. They look so good. These good stripies. But I don't know actually. Let's see. It'll be a little difficult, but we could. Because it should sit something. Come here. Oh, good lord. Come here. Never mind, fabric. In fact, actually, I think this sews up to this part of the thigh. So, go like this. Come on, get over his footsies. There we go. It'll sit there, kind of like, I don't know where you guys can see it, but kind of like that. Granted, you know, with padding in it, so it won't be so deflated. Have a nice big thigh on each side. But it's gonna look so good. And then it's only got, it looks like just the one more piece on the thigh pieces. Right? Am I crazy? So that should be 21. There's 21. That's a 21 piece anyway. These are the ones. These are the 22s. 21. How many pieces are on the ankles? Am I crazy about that? Aha, that's my problem. There's 2 pieces left on the bottom of these. And it seems I did not trace the one piece on the other one. That's okay. I can trace it later, and it'll be golden. So then we'll have all our stripes. There's 2 more pieces left on the thighs, and then 2 more on the ankles. And then they'll all be sewn in, aside from the ones on the shoulders that I can't do till later. And then it'll be a lot of trimming. And then once when we're done with all the trimming, it'll be a lot of sewing. And then finishing touches type stuff, like the padding and whatnot. But for now, since we've gone on longer than I meant to anyway, we're gonna see what we can find for a raid. Who wants to see teeny tiny watercolors? I think teeny tiny watercolors is a good one. It's not watercolors. Is it watercolors? We're making mushrooms. I'm gonna skedaddle over here. So we will pop over there for a bit, and we'll hang out. And then I will have to go make dinner. And I guess play with the dogs, because they don't have enough attention, apparently. So I will see you guys on Monday. Bye! Bye, 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 bye.